Welcome. Good noon. Welcome to our weekly spiritual spa, your Sunday spiritual indulgence. Doesn't that sound yummy? I hope it is. We're here to help you in any way that we can, spiritually speaking, of course. We're here to help you feel better if you're feeling bad, and to help you feel even better if you're already feeling just fine. And we've been known to do a little bit of spiritual urgent care if necessary. So wherever it is you are, we'd like to be there with you and lift you and make your life better. That's the whole point in being here. You know, Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, used his weekly television and radio shows to uplift and to inspire. And he opened those shows with these words: there is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. I do believe that. And I also believe that you can't not use it. In fact, you're using it all the time because it is done unto you as you believe. The really important part of Dr. Holmes' admonition was to remember to use it for good. That its natural tendency was to good, and that when we know that and rely on that and believe in that, then good is what our life becomes. I'm going to ask you to go within for a moment and consider this idea. Say the words with me if you'd like, or just listen. Just listen. We are here to remember who we are.
We are here to remember who we are.
We are children of creation.
We are children of creation.
We are here to remember that we are created in the image and likeness of God.
We are here to remember that we are created in the image and likeness of God.
We are here to heal our misconceptions.
We are here to heal our misconceptions.
And to release whatever beliefs may no longer serve us.
And to release whatever beliefs may no longer serve us.
We are here to awaken.
We are here to awaken.
To inspire.
To inspire.
To uplift.
To uplift.
And to heal.
And to heal.
Our families, our friends, our world, and ourselves.
Our families, our friends, our world, and ourselves.
We are here to learn how to use our divine inheritance.
We are here to learn how to use our divine inheritance.
To make our lives.
To make our lives.
And our world.
And our world.
A better place.
A better place.
Ah.
Ah.
Okay, I asked for that. Oh, all right. Just for that, I'm going to make you repeat something else after me, if you choose. I know that there is a creative, motivating power in the universe.
That there is a creative, motivating power in the universe.
It is the intelligence.
It is the intelligence.
It is the power.
It is the power.
And it is the love.
And it is the love.
Behind all of creation.
Behind all of creation.
And it is the life within me.
And it is the life within me.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
And I accept it.
And I accept it.
And so it is.
So it is.
Okay, so good. Thank you. If you said the words along with me, hooray for you. And if you're still thinking about them, that's just fine. Stay with us. We'll talk more about all of that in just a little bit. So let me check in. How is everybody? Hi, Heidi. Glad you're here. Good noon. Good noon. It's a beautiful day. She set me up. Oh, yes, she did. Indeed, she did. But then she does that all the time, so it goes. Happy Sunday, Dana. Glad that you're here. And all the rest of you hanging around out there not saying anything, that's okay. You can do that. You can do that. I know a lot of people who came to church back when I did brick and mortar, and sat in the back row so that they could get out the door real fast if they didn't like what they heard, or if it scared them, or whatever. If you know me, you know I don't do church. Um, but I'm kind of fun to listen to. I think I like to think I am. Anyway, a lot of people sat in the back row, and it was fun to watch them over time move up closer to the front. Some of them moved so close to the front that they moved right out and started churches of their own. So the present, let's see if I can say this right, spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living, which used to be called the Church of Religious Science, was one of those people. Started out in the back row and just kind of worked his way up front and took classes and became a minister and is leading a fabulously successful church. And and all I've got to say is I love the people who sit in the back row, or in the case of internet stuff, just stay quiet for a while and listen. We know you're there, and please just let us know if we can support you in any way. Don had knee surgery. I didn't know that. Did you know that? You didn't know that. Okay, we're going to have to go pray for him and beat him up at the same time for not letting us know. Dana says, my first time was in the back row. Absolutely will confirm his continuing healing. Absolutely, that's our guy. And I'd be mad at him for not letting us know, but Don's real hard to get mad at. And I'm real hard to rile up and get mad. So there we go. Got a question for you. Happy Sunday, Jennifer. Glad you're here. Got a question for you. We talked last week about being mystics and starting a school for mystics. And I've been fascinated for some time by the whole idea of mysticism and the idea of being a mystic, or the modern day equivalent of a mystic, since time and acceptable behavior have changed things since the 14th century. So here's my question for you. How would you define a modern day mystic? And at the same time, would you like to be one? Are you interested in any of that? Let me know what you're thinking. See, then I have to babble for a minute or so because we're not on I don't know, they do this on a time delay, I suppose, to allow for me saying something I shouldn't on the internet. Can you do that?
You're about 20 seconds behind today.
I'm about 20 seconds behind. Thank you for letting me know.
Or ahead. It just depends on your POV.
Yeah. Heidi remembers the back row. Shoot, I remember the back row. It was Huntington Beach Church of Religious Science. Well, probably not the back row, only because I'm not inclined to sit in back rows. And the person that dragged me there was definitely not a back row person. So I'm sure I had to sit closer to the front than I was comfortable doing. But after a while, I worked my way up there too. Does depend on who was in that back row, doesn't it? Yeah, sometimes you kind of take a look and go, don't want to sit with them. Or afraid to sit with them. Or who are they? And there was usually also a practitioner's planted in the back row so that they could keep an eye on the room and pray if necessary. So there were practitioners planted all around the room, praying, holding the space, we called it, for healing, for realization. Call it what you will. So, how would you define a mystic? And um, do you have any interest in being one? Would you like to be one? Ah, Heidi, I think I know what you mean. And yes, they very often populated the back row. From my perspective, it was on the left side. From the podium, it was left side, back row. And many, many of those people went on to become ministers. Isn't that? That says something. I mean, not just ministers, but ministers. Really wonderful ministers in and growing fabulous churches. Yeah, yeah, yay. Well, now there's an interesting comment, Jennifer. I want to be a mystic if it gets me closer to Source. Theoretically, that's what it's for. Um, I mean, theoretically, that would be the whole thing. Let me let me get on with what I was going to talk about, and you guys keep thinking about that question, would you? And let's see if we can define a mystic. There's an interesting slip. Let's see if we can define a mystic in a way that suits us and makes sense to us, and and then maybe decide if that's what we would like to become, if we have any interest in being one of them. So, according to the Oxford Dictionary, I think that's where I found this. A mystic is a person who seeks by contemplation and self surrender to obtain unity with or absorption into the absolute, or who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. Okay? You with me so far? Good. Seeks by contemplation and self surrender to obtain unity with or absorption into the absolute. So, what then is mysticism or mystical spirituality? Mysticism, according to somebody, I know I looked it up, but I forgot to write down where. Mysticism is the belief that God or spiritual truths can be known through individual insight rather than by reasoning or study. And all of the major religions include some form of mysticism. A person who has a mystical experience is called a mystic. During these experiences, mystics, it says, may feel ecstasy or great peace. So, a few years back, I took some courses from a woman named Amara Freeman. The courses were called Avalon Mystery School. And if you've been with me for any length of time, you know that I loved every one of them. At the time that I took the classes, Mara lived in Carmel, but she has since moved to England to be closer to the land and the legends that she loves. Gratefully, I can still be connected to her and her teachings if I choose, because she sends out a newsletter, and the last one, which just arrived a couple of days ago, contained an article entitled The Wisdom of the Weaver. And thinking about mystics and mysticism and mystic school, I just knew that somehow I had to share this with you. In it, she says, at a time when global events have caused many of us to feel disconnected from each other, from our usual roles at work, and from the familiar old rhythms of everyday living, it can be difficult to discern any clear pattern in our lives. We are living in a time of chaos. And this makes it all the more crucial for us to connect with the underlying web of all being. That we are intimately at one with nature is a cosmic truth we are all slowly catching on to. Not only are our pets and the animals and birds that visit our homes our close kindred, but, says Mara, the green tree and the green grass, the blue wave and the flowing wind, the flower of a day and the granite peak of an aeon. We are woven in one loom, and the weaver threads our being with the sweet influences of the living world, of which each of us is a multicolored thread. We each need to rediscover our true identity as a unique individual strand of the web through which the sacred life force flows. And at the same time, we must remember that we are also an intrinsic and irreplaceable part of the whole cosmic tapestry. The web, she writes, is in fact a matrix, a word that derives from mater, mother, and the weaver is the divine mother who sustains us, body and soul. It is she who is the cosmic weaver as described in the beautiful verse of Scottish poet Fiona MacLeod. And the poem is this. I dreamed of Orchel, the dim goddess who is under the brown earth, in a vast cavern where she weaves at two looms. With one hand she weaves life upward through the grass, and with the other she weaves death downward through the mold. And the sound of the weaving is eternity, and the name of it in the green world is time. And through all, Orchel weaves the weft of eternal beauty that passes not, though her soul is changed. And then, says Mara, nowhere does she reveal herself more clearly than in her exquisite weaving that we call the natural world, which is why forging or renewing a connection with nature is a profound source of healing and a way to return to our true selves. Mystical stuff, don't you think? And returning to our true selves, is that not the work of a mystic? So, having determined last week that for the most part none of us feel particularly called to be a mystic in the old mold, like Julian of Norwich, who prayed to suffer for the glory of God. Now, not to demean her in any way, but I am still trying to determine how it is that suffering glorifies God. I don't get that. But I suppose in the 13th and 14th century, perhaps there was a different way, do you think, of looking at things. So we finally came to the conclusion last week that if we were going to become mystics, we were going to have to redefine mysticism. So, as I asked you earlier, just what is a modern-day mystic? Well, according to the Oxford Dictionary, again, a mystic is someone whose very existence is an immersion in the divine mysteries of life. Ooh. All right, that doesn't sound so very bad. And how do you become one? Well, someone said you become a mystic by searching for truth, the reality, cause, and source of life. You seek, I love this phrase, you seek to know your soul, your true self, and your own spiritual essence. Well, that's quite a job, and quite an adventure. You'll move, said one expert, from a habitual belief in the world of matter to a realization that everything truly is spirit. Well, now doesn't that kind of align with what we believe? Oprah magazine ran an article some time ago entitled, "Are You a Natural Mystic?" The article is written by Thomas Moore, and in it he says, many people use the word mystic pejoratively to indicate someone who is seriously and deliriously out of touch with reality. As a student of religion, he says, I say the opposite. Mystics are the ones who have actually gotten in touch with what is real. They have powers of receptivity and sympathy that are particularly acute. They are porous and have the ability to be so open as to stretch beyond the usual small and protective ego, and they are often unusually courageous. He goes on, anyone can be an ordinary mystic. You may not experience a regular loss of ego and absorption in the divine, but now and then you may feel lifted out of your body and become lost in a beautiful piece of art or a scene in nature. As a parent, you may have a moment of bliss as you step back and look at your children. As a creative person, you may finish a product and suddenly feel lightheaded with the joy of having created something worthy. You may enjoy occasional bursts of wonder and know what it means to extend the boundaries of self. Then he says the mystical moments multiply. And over time you extend the borders of your self. You are less prone to protecting yourself, and you have more empathy with the people and the world around you. If you define religion as a strong sense of the divine, your daily mysticism contributes to that sense by drawing you out of yourself and into nature and then beyond. It helps, he says, if you take these experiences seriously and make something of them. Just having one sublime experience after another isn't enough. You have to weave them into your thinking, your feeling, your relating. They become part of your life and your identity. The mystic is empty and lost in a positive way, and yet she is alert and ready for the next revelation and opportunity. So, do you want to be a mystic? Maybe you already are and just haven't defined it. So, I want you to grab a paper and pencil and just keep track of all of your affirmative responses. This is thoughts created by the Viva Institute. And they call it 22 signs you're a modern mystic. So if you got something you could just make little slash marks on, don't write all the questions down. It'll take too long. We'll be here all day. So just hash marks, okay? Because they say if you can relate to more than half of the characteristics on this list, there is a good chance that you, in fact, are already a mystic. Okay, here we go. Number 1, you see messages in everything. Well, yeah. Number 2, you discover that serendipity and coincidence are everyday occurrences. Yes, no, maybe. Number 3, before making an important financial decision, you talk to your accountant, your retirement planner, and your spirit guides. I might add that you also get a tarot reading or a palm reading or God knows what all. Number 4, when faced with an obstacle, you ask yourself, what is the true meaning of this situation? You judge it as neither good nor bad and actively look for the big picture lesson in the experience. Do ya? Keeping track? Okay. Number 5, you order Palo Santo wood in bulk. Now, my resident expert calls Palo Santo holy wood, sacred wood. It's used to cleanse, purify, and claim your future. And by the South American Indians, it is used for sacred fire. So, what are you burning? Number 6, you actively seek time in nature so that you can talk to the plants, trees, and animals. Number 7, you set stones and crystals in the window during a full moon, carry sage spray in your purse, and a pendulum in your wallet. I actually do. Number 8, you have no enemies, only teachers. Now, be honest about that one. Number 9, you live with your feet on the earth and your head in the heavens. Number 10, you stop someone from speaking so that you can listen to the voices in your head. Number 11, when a 4-year-old tells you, "In my last life I was a doctor," you reply, "Would you mind having a look at this lump?" Number 12, you understand that choosing kindness and compassion can often be both the most difficult and the easiest choice in every situation. Want me to read that one again? It's number 12. You understand that choosing kindness and compassion, choosing kindness and compassion, can often be both the most difficult and the easiest choice in every situation. Number 13. You have stopped wondering if something is wrong with you because of how you experience life. You know, you remember. Number 14, you know that the answer is in the question. Number 15, you understand divine order, that whatever happens, all will be well. Number 16, you know that there are no right answers. Number 17, you have inner peace, or quickly return to a place of inner peace because you know down to your core that this life is only one dimension of reality. Number 18, you know that there is so much more to you than your physical body or this reality. Number 19, you have moments where you see beauty in everything and everyone. And those moments begin to fill more and more of your time here on earth. Number 20, you know that there is life before and after this one. Number 21, you embrace your past and plan for the future, knowing that true peace comes from being fully present. Number 22, this is the last one. You know there is no beginning or end. Okay, so count them up, folks. 22. 22. And what they say, and it's their test, what they say is that if you relate to more than half of the characteristics in this list, there's a good chance that you already are a mystic, or certainly a mystic becoming. Are you? If you are, it's only right that I share with you that the Viva Institute, the people who made the list, offer a course called Flight School Mediumship for Modern Mystics. They say on their website that it was created for purpose driven, committed, soulful, passionate, curious, and discerning truth seekers, and that it's about reconnecting with the intuitive part of yourself that knows that there is something you came here to do. They say that they can help you learn new tools and ignite your unique spark so that you can fly. Or, honestly, it seems to me that you can just keep doing what you're already doing. Reading, journaling, studying, discovering, communicating with one another and with nature and with spirit. Being here with this spiritual community of mystics and would-be mystics in a way that supports you and your soul. If you're thinking that it's too late to begin, let me remind you that there is nothing but spirit and you have far more time in your eternal life. We're at the beginning, individually and collectively. We can determine the pattern of which we are an intrinsic part. Within the life of the infinite, each of us is a center of intelligence, a weaver of our own reality. Emerson said genius has no taste for weaving sand. Well, of course not. The introduction of newer and richer and deeper thoughts creates a richer and more vibrant pattern in our lives. We are weavers of thought patterns. And every time we think, we set the shuttle in motion. And as we begin to think in new ways, new patterns emerge. We can continue to weave thoughtlessly, if that's what we've been doing, and live with the emerging patterns, or we can stop and think and decide what pattern we will choose to live with. If we remember that God is the power behind all things, the warp thread that holds the grand tapestry together, the foundation, the first thing laid out in a tapestry, and is that upon which we thread the choices we make, building the pattern as we go. If we move forward toward our vision in faith, we ourselves create the avenue through which spirit moves into expression in our lives. But if we allow the past, or even the current pattern, to control our choices, well, then that will be the pattern we set into motion. That will be our demonstration. But if we maintain dominion over our mind, over the choices we make, then we will create a new pattern and a new life. Ernest Holmes called prayer the golden thread, which weaves itself into the very warp and woof of our lives and enables us to commingle our thought with the infinite. Would that not be the goal of the modern day mystic? To pray prayers that would commingle our thought with the infinite. But don't forget, we're not talking about the ordinary old-fashioned kind of prayers. The old way of praying is not much more than a wish list. But the prayer of one who has looked at the emerging patterns of his or her life and has learned and grown and consciously chosen a new pattern, that's the prayer of power. The prayer that changes all of life for the better. We have been given so much: life, beauty, love, freedom. These are Spirit's gifts to us, and they are freely given. They are the materials and the loom upon which we may weave an experience of wonder. But then what we weave, what we make of our lives, that's our gift to life and to one another. So here's the question: what are you making? What patterns are creating? What is your intention? There is a song of the Tiwa tribe that speaks to the soul, I believe. It says, "May the warp of your weaving be the white light of morning, and may the weft of the light of the evening. May the fringes be the falling rain, and may the border be the standing rainbow. May the pattern of your thought be created from your highest sense of wholeness, your highest sense of oneness with the infinite. And with all of this, may you weave a garment of brightness and deep, abiding joy. To commingle our thoughts with the infinite. To weave a garment of brightness and abiding joy." Such, I think, is a beautiful definition of the mystical experience, of the life of a mystic. And thus ends lesson 2 of Mystic School. Hold on, I'm reading. Yeah, I expected you all to have high scores. Did it surprise you? And yes, you are all amazing. And I believe we are, in fact, mystics becoming, under the new definition, which has as its core the same thing as the old definition, but different things are expected of it. Dana says it's time for another red tent gathering. Oh, I loved that so much. Oh, Kat, thank you for finding that. Yes, and it is called Song of the Sky Loom. And you all know that I am somewhat addicted to weaving as well, so the whole idea of being a mystic and weaving your life just truly appeals to me. So, well, let's think about another red tent gathering. Maybe we'll call it something else, but head in the same direction. Not right this minute, but let's think about it and let's consider what that might look like. And consider whether or not we can do something like that perhaps online until such time as it is safe for all of our bodies to be in the same place at the same time. Think on that, would you? And feel free to drop me a line if you have some ideas. I would appreciate that. Very much, I would appreciate that. So, mystics, Not at all surprised. That's why I didn't make my own list. I decided to use somebody else's because I thought if I made my own list, I would, could subconsciously tilt it in a direction. But this is somebody else's idea. Granted, they are also trying to sell a course. Um, but not everybody would have answered yes to those questions, would they? You know people who wouldn't have, don't you? Don't you? I do. We could weave a tapestry. I still have a couple of looms, as a matter of fact.
About 40.
I do not. I probably have 4.
40.
4. Not 44. 4. I have 2 big ones, and I have 1 small one, and then there's probably another one floating around someplace. Did you see the note from Heidi that says that she bought her friend Rick your crystal book?
Oh, wow. Thank you.
My list, Jennifer, thank you, but my list probably wouldn't be substantially different. I'd leave a few things out. I don't order Palo Santo in bulk. CAC, however, orders all kinds of things in bulk. So, The point, Heidi, my darling, is to see God. And if you can look at a stack of French fries and see what is holy and sacred about that, good. Good. That's the whole point, isn't it? It's everywhere. It's all around us. It's in and through everything. It being spirit, God, life, intelligence, the creative motivating force of the universe, which is just one of my favorite because it sort of takes the woo-woo stuff out of it and changes what comes to mind for us, I think, from a picture of an old man up on a cloud to an energy. The energy. The energy. And it is in and through every one of us. Yes, creation is everyone and everything. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Maybe we should just have a gathering. I don't think we need a school. Could we call it Mystic School? Or was that just too woo-woo? Let me know. Incidentally, let's see, I have to go that way. See the sign behind me? Remember the talk from a week or so ago? Please mind your head. Someone who cares deeply about me had the sign made. And I instantly put it on the wall because I want to remember. So I just think so much of what it is we want to accomplish in our lives and so much of what we dream of being is right there for us. But we forget or we deny or we let appearances get in the way. I kind of liked everyone, Jennifer. She corrected her to creation is everywhere. Yes, and in everyone, yes. Yeah. Palo Santo, sacred wood. You got it, Heidi. I see the prayer request. Yes, Jennifer, you are always right on it. Yes. See, I don't have to pray. Just leave it up to you guys. You jump right in there. I will, however, pray. Does anybody else have a prayer request before we jump into that? If you do, put it in there. Let me know. me know. How's your life going? What would you like to see, you little mystic you? What would you like to see be even bigger, better, happier, wholer? What? Yeah, wasn't there something about surrender in there, Jennifer? You just autocorrect knows best. Fine. I guess that's what I meant to say. Oh, yes. Got it, Cag. Anybody else? Yeah, can't put too many in. If there's anything hanging around in the back of your mind, there's nothing too big or too little to God. There is nothing too small or too magnificent. So feel free. Yeah, well, it might do that, Heidi. It might do that. Really? 85 pounds? Is there anything left of you? 85 pounds? I am seriously impressed. And yeah, that's going to have repercussions throughout your entire body. Um, but a lot of times that's just temporary. Hmm? So we're going to know that whatever's going on, it's temporary. If they can figure out how to put autocorrect into a computer, can we not put autocorrect into our minds? Oh, there's a whole talk there, isn't there? Okay. Anybody else? You have one more minute. Tick, 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 tick. Let me know. Let me know. Autocorrect your mind. Yes. Okay. All right, let's pray. If you think of something you want prayer for, go ahead and just drop it in. I will try to catch it. So you know the drill. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just soft focus. Close your eyes just a little bit and focus on something beautiful. And see the God in it. See how it shines with an inner light. And recognize in this moment that everything has that light. Everything has that light. You have that light. And it shines brightly. It is the light of spirit. It is the light of the one life. Nothing is without it. And it shines within and through each and every one of us, and ever more brightly as we get out of our own way and train ourselves to think what we wish to think, to believe what we wish to believe, and to place no limit on the divine, even within us. And so I know that as we focus our energy on that which is eternal and immortal and infinite, so the words that we speak allow that same infinite to shine through us and to create as it did in the beginning through our words. And I know that that which we claim in prayer and in acknowledgement of the divine within us becomes reality. It must. It has to. And so I speak my word now for Heidi, knowing that the CAT scan tomorrow reveals only truth, only wholeness. That it is a process in her becoming at an even higher level. It is a step. And it involves the revealing of the presence of God within her, the presence of wholeness, completeness, health. I know for Dawn, complete healing. I fully expect that he will be up and dancing by the end of the week. And that the spirit, the joyous spirit within him contributes to his healing and wholeness and joy. I know for Brenda, continued miracles. I know that her life is not just turning, but has turned, and that only good comes to her. And that she sees the miracles and accepts them, and so they multiply. I know for Jennifer, that she stays in the space that she is in now and moves only upward, only to higher planes, higher states of being, greater joy, greater love. There is no going back. There is only going forward. I know for Anne, peace of mind and belief in herself, and the awareness that present circumstances only reveal the truth of her being, which is her wisdom and her joy and her love. I know for each of us the revealing of the presence of God within us, the joy, the love, the wonder, the beauty. I know that there is nothing beside that. But I know now that we gently strip away anything that has been hiding the light within us and allow that light to shine. I know that miracles are happening in each one of our lives right now. We see them and rejoice in them and accept them, and so they multiply. I know that life is good, and I know that all who are within the sound of my voice are blessed and their miracles multiplied and their lives made whole and their minds find peace. And I am so deeply grateful for the miraculous moments that we experience and for the time we spend together and for the presence of God in which we find ourselves. I know that all is good, that miracles are happening, and that is enough to know. And so it is. And so it is. We have a closing song. Yay. All right, you little mystics, you. I'm going to set you free to go out into the world and create miracles. Why not? What else have you got to do? Thank you, Dana. Yes, have a mystical week, everyone. In the good and modern sense. Know that you are blessed. Hi, Kirk. Know that you are blessed. And know that you go with God because you can't go any other way. I'll see you Wednesday. Bring friends. Come on, let's draw the circle bigger. We're going to have a gathering. We need people to gather. I'll see you Wednesday at 7 and back here next Sunday at noon. Good noon. Good Sunday.